Hi there, it's Liz Yuille, independent Stampin' Up demonstrator from Old Stables Crafts. Thank you very much for joining me today. I have to say today is the most miserable Saturday morning, certainly when I'm recording this, it's Saturday morning. It's pouring with rain, it's freezing cold, and it's generally miserable. So I thought we needed a bright project. So I am using the Bubble Over stamp set and the matching framelets, which are the bottles and bubbles. This is most of them apart from the bottles, which I've got out. And I'm also using the matching designer series paper, which you can get for free in the Celebration catalogue. It is tucked away, if I can find it. There we are, Bubbles and Fizz designer series paper. Now here's the thing, if you get the framelit set as a bundle, it's £36, so you only have to add another £9 of product and you get the designer series paper for free, which is one of those why wouldn't you do it moments, really, because it's such a fun set. And here's the thing, the stamps obviously work with the framelets, and one of the framelets is, well, you've got the bottles, and you've also got bottle tops, both flat on and also from profile, and you've got them in large and small. In fact, you've got them in all sorts of sizes so that you don't have to keep running your thing through your big shot, so you can do a whole load at once, which is brilliant. You've got two straws, and they're bendy straws. You've got bubbles, which you can actually punch out of the designer series paper, and you can punch out the bottles from the designer series paper because the framelets work with it, and you can punch out the bottle tops from the designer series paper. So what's not to love about that? And if I dig in my, there we are. So, and here there's one of the framelets, this one, cuts out the bubbles. So you can actually punch out the bubbles from the designer series paper. So it's all good. It's all good. It just is brilliant. And there's also these two labels which come with inserts so that you can make these little labels with ribbon holes, which we'll be using as part of the project. So it's a great little bundle, and particularly during Celebration when you can get the designer series paper as part of the set, and it's free. Now there are two sizes of bottle. There's two sizes of bottle stamped, so even when you run out of designer series paper from Celebration, you can still use the framelets, obviously, because they fit beautifully, as you would expect, because it's Stampin' Up. But there's also two size bottles on the paper, so you've got one that is the large size and one that is the small size. So brilliant. So I only had that out to show you because I've already done all my die cutting to try and keep the video reasonably short. So this is the card that I've made, and I've used white for the straws and then just die cut the bottles, and I've used some of the bubbles from the designer series paper for bubbles, and I've also used the, now what do we call them? The glitter and clear epoxy shapes, and they are both glittered and just clear. So I'm using the glittered one for this because obviously it's bubbles, so why wouldn't we have a bit of glitter? So this is what I'm thinking of as a male version, and I thought we would make a female version together. So this is Lemon Lime Twist with Bermuda Bay. And I'm going to just turn it up, change it up a bit, and we're going to use Blushing Bride, Calypso Coral, and some Lemon Lime Twist and Bermuda Bay, just to give it a bit of a zing. So remember that all the measurements will be on the associated blog post, which is linked below. It takes you straight to the post that is linked to this video. So whenever you're watching this, be that, you know, as I'm releasing it, or be that in some months' time, you can go straight to that blog post. So don't worry about that. Apologies, I am still tail end of flu and I'm going to sneeze. So I will blow my nose to stop that happening at an inopportune moment. It's sort of left me with a little bit of, yeah, sneezy, coughy-ishy. So, one of the designer series papers has this lovely squiggly pattern on one side and lots of bottles on the other, and I thought we'd use that as the first mat, and these bright bubbles as the second mat, and that's got hearts on the back, so perfect for Valentine's as well. So let's mount those up first. I'm using Fast Fuse. Now, if you haven't heard the news, we've just been told that for various reasons, mostly that it's been difficult to keep the supplies up, Stampin' Up are no longer going to stock Fast Fuse come the new catalogue in June. But what they've also said is if they run out between now and June, they're not going to be able to replenish the stocks. So if you want to stock up on Fast Fuse, may I suggest you do it sooner rather than later, because I have a sneaking suspicion there is going to be a run on it, because I know a lot of people who use Fast Fuse as their go-to adhesive. I am probably one of those. I'm in the fortunate position where I do have a reasonable amount of stock, but yeah, if you want Fast Fuse, pop over to my online store and get it now. We don't know what the replacement is going to be. I understand that this is as much as anything because the people who manufacture this are stopping manufacturing it, which is why supplies are difficult. So, yeah, unfortunately these things happen. Right, so I've matted those up. So having used the bottle pattern just as a background, and because it's a small pattern, it doesn't matter that you can't see that it's bottles. If it was a bit larger and therefore just looked a bit weird to mat it, I would either have made the mat on top slightly smaller, or I would have chosen a different pattern, because I don't like using something where you can't see what the pattern is, if that's an issue, if that makes sense. So I like it to either just be acting as a flat pattern, or to be able to see what it is, if that's what matters. I'm not sure that made any sense at all, but there we go. Right, I have already punched or die cut the label. I am going to use Bermuda Bay again because I want to tie the Bermuda Bay in, because at the moment it's kind of the one, apart from the yellow, it's the only colour I'm kind of not replicating. That is going to be heat embossed. So first things first, this is where I'm going to have to try and get my stamping absolutely ping on, because otherwise I'm going to have to start again with my die cutting. So I'm going to use the Have a Birthday Brew. Actually, am I going to use Have a Birthday Brew? Because I used that on the last one. I might use this as a thank you. Let's use this as a thank you card instead. So we will swap that out and make this a thank you card. Right, ink that up and stamp it down. That looks okay. I think we might get away with it. Right, I have got my silver embossing powder, and I'm using silver because I'm thinking of these as cool colours. So I want a cool emboss. Could use white. White would probably work well as well. So yeah. Right, now I have got a set of tweezers where you can just, you have to push them to open them. So I'm going to use those and my heat tool, which I will heat up. Okay, this is just a bit small for my cheese board, so I won't use it. And I could watch this every day and not get bored. Excellent. Turn that off. Right. Okay. Right, ribbon. So I'm going to use the same ribbon because the lemon lime twist is still in the patterns that I'm using. And this is from the Spring Summer catalogue, and it's the mini stripe lemon lime twist ribbon. Obviously I will link that into the product list that I put on my blog, so you can see that. And you just need a short piece. And then this I'm going to stick to the front of my large bottle. So I'm going to use a reasonable amount of fast fuse because we have got the ribbon running across the back. Make sure I put it on the right way up and that it's reasonably square. Let's pop it up a little bit. There we go. And then that's going to go on dimensionals in the middle of that card base. So 1, 2, probably 3, yes. So 1 at the very top to help keep everything together there, and then 2 more further down. And that's that one. And then I'm just going to run a piece of fast fuse on either side to hold my ribbon down, and then trim the ends off so that they don't stick out. Don't need to worry too much about what that looks like because they're going to be covered up. Right, okay, silicone matte time, because I want to stick my straws onto my bottles. And the easiest way to do that, I have found, is to use fast fuse on your silicone mat and just run it down. And because it's the silicone mat, the fast fuse just kind of pings away from the silicone mat onto the straw rather than staying as a strip. And then just stick that on. And then we've got one of our bottles. And the other one. And just tuck that in. And again, turn that over. Pop it on the back. And then all we need is some more dimensionals. And I think it's going to be 2 normal size. And 1 mini, so let me grab my minis, which are just off camera. And then minis, actually I might put 2 minis on the neck of these because they are still quite long bottles. And as this is only paper, I want to give them a reasonable chance of not bending in the post. And pop that one on. Actually, I might put that up a bit. Pop that one there. And then this one, the other side. And then we've just got to stamp the middle, as in the inside, and put some bling on the front, and we're done. Good heavens, I think it's actually stopped raining. It's still miserable, but I think it might have stopped actually raining. Right, let's just scoop those off. Right, okay. So we're going to still use, whoops, going to dent our card base apparently. Oh, that's right. Right, we're going to use the, let's grab the right stamp set, that's always a useful thing. The May Your Day Bubble Over with Happiness. And what I did on this card is I did two-tone stamping. And the key to that is to start with your lighter tone and go to your darker tone. So I will show you that. So I've got that mounted up. Blushing Bride ink first, and just ink that up as you would normally. And then Calypso Coral. And then all I'm going to do is ink up the bubble over. So just in the bottom corner, just get that bit inked up. And then, let's actually close that because I don't particularly want to get ink all over myself. Trying to get it straight. And there we are. It's not as obvious as the previous one, but it's still there, and as it dries it will all balance out. And then I've got the bubbles mounted up, and I'm going to use Blushing Bride for that, and a scrap of paper. Ooh, come on. Just to stamp off, because I don't want it full strength, I want just half strength. So it's just a kind of suggestion of bubbles, and just turn your stamp as you go so that it's not obviously just the same stamp moving all the way around. And it does nest quite nicely into itself, the stamp, so you can build up your pattern quite nicely. Actually, I don't think it needs any more. Perfect. Okay, so that's that done. So then all we need to do is pop this on the inside of our card and then add some bling to the front, and we're done. Right, fast fuse. So hopefully this has brightened your day. I know that certainly in the UK we've got bizarre weather everywhere at the moment. We've got snow in certain parts of the country, and then wind and rain in others, and generally it's chilly. And as you can see, now that it's beginning to dry, that bubble over is becoming more obviously a different colour, which is the look we were going for. So, okay. Oh, somewhere I've got a little bit, there we are. These are actually, they look like little raindrops, and I thought it would be quite fun to have those as sort of beads of sweat coming down the outside of our bottles. And in fact, actually we'll use some of the clear rather than the... Now, as you know, if you have watched me for a while, I like odd numbers. So we will be having odd numbers on our bottles. There we go. And then some just general bubbly bubbles, and I'm just going to pop these over the bubbles that are already on the paper. Because I can. And it just helps highlight the bubbles that are already there, which is great. Whoops. It'd be even better if I try to actually pick it up and not try and pick up the piece of acetate behind. Oop. And just one more. So we've got 3 bubbles coming out and 3 sweat marks down the outside of the bottle. And there we are. So we've got the same basic card in a kind of masculine version and a more feminine version. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you don't already subscribe, please do. It's the bottom right hand corner. If you hop over to my blog, I'm running a giveaway at the moment for people in the UK, not demonstrators, I'm afraid, just anyone who isn't already a demonstrator. This is for potential customers. If you sign up to my mailing list, which is right at the bottom of the blog posts, then you'll be entered into a prize draw. It's free. It runs until the end of March, so until the end of Celebration. And if you sign up between now and then I will enter you into my prize draw, and you'll win a little craft kit, which will be note cards and envelopes, some designer series paper, some embellishments, just a little kit that you can use to make some cards. So yeah, if you don't already subscribe to my mailing list, now is your moment to do it. If you've got any questions, any queries, if you want any products, just pop over to my online store for the products. Any questions, queries, either comment below or drop me an email. I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye!